So hi, my name's Joe Brewer and I'm a change strategist. Today I want to talk with you about what I think is one of the most important dimensions of social change, which is the role of belief systems and in particular religious or spiritual traditions for bringing together people into cohesive groups with many social, psychological benefits that are now well documented, and also for the spreading of ideas, or more accurately, for the persistence of the same kinds of ideas that are able to last across multiple generations of time. The book that I'm reviewing today is this one, Religion Explained: The Evolutionary Origins of Religious Thought by Pascal. Now, this book was written in the early 1990s, but even though it's about 20 years old, it's still extremely relevant to what's happening in the world today because it's a work of anthropology that establishes a key domain of human behavior or human evolution, if you will, that doesn't change very much and is a building block for other kinds of knowledge. So this book, Religion Explained, has now become a foundational piece in an entirely new field of research called cognitive anthropology of religion. And cognitive anthropology of religion looks at the relationship between ethnographic field research, cross-cultural studies, and human evolution, the things that are typically done in anthropology, and cognitive science, in particular the construction of concepts, linguistic intent or communication, and the psychology of ideas that spread from one person's mind to another. So what is it that makes ideas able to spread easily or able to stay the same easily? And so this book, Religion Explained, offers the first, I don't know about the first necessarily, but for its time, the most comprehensive understanding or theoretical perspective for how religious ideas are formed, what makes religious ideas so sticky in the minds of people and able to be transmitted from one generation to the next. So in many ways, you could think of this as a theory of cultural transmission for religious ideas. And what Boyer does that's just it's really brilliant, and I still refer back to it, even though I read this book more than 10 years ago. It's constantly coming back on my mind, is he looked at the makeup of ideas and what makes ideas psychologically sticky, what makes ideas something that's easy to spread from one person to another. And what he found was that for all of the key categories for everyday life, so the category for what it means to be a person, the category for what it means to be a tool that gets used, what makes something a tool or what makes something a piece of furniture, these kinds of categories in life, that the most powerful way to create an idea that spreads is to make it both novel and new, kind of unexpected and surprising enough that it catches people's attention, but similar enough to what was already there that people can make sense of it. So for example, he found that with the category of person, there are several features or attributes of personhood that are commonplace. People are, you're a person if you have a mind, you're a person if you have a body, you're a person if you have a consistent accumulation of memory across time, things like this. And he found that all supernatural concepts in every religious system that he studied, and Boyer, as an anthropologist, has looked at hundreds of indigenous religions as well as the major world religions. And he found that all religious concepts have the same basic recipe. They take a normal category, like the category for person, and then they violate one or two of its expected behaviors, the behavior of the category of person, but not more than that. So it's something that's novel and surprising, but still mostly like what people what people expect. So for example, for the category of person, what is it if you have a person that doesn't have a mind? So you take the mind aspect away from person. The person without a mind is what we call a zombie. What is a person that is a person in every way except they don't have a body? Well, that is a disembodied soul or a spirit or a ghost. So he took this idea that you take the category of person and change one of its attributes, but not more. You get a novel and surprising concept, and people remember it, want to talk about it, but it's understandable so people can make sense of it. And then he applied this basic litmus test to all of the religious concepts and found that you could create religious ideas that you'll never find in religions. So like imagine there's a God who's all-powerful and all-knowing, but he immediately forgets everything that he knows. You're never going to find a category like that because it's so nonsensical. It violates several of the tenets of what it means to be a person, that it just is nonsensical. People can't remember it, they can't communicate it, so it just doesn't spread. So he takes this basic idea and then he introduces an entire perspective, a huge lens of evolutionary thinking to the field of religious study, especially the transmission of ideas across time. And this book is probably the best, most comprehensive analysis of this approach. And I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to understand how religious systems come into being, how they change in time, and in particular, the way that that memes spread from one mind to another to enable religious systems to persist and to slowly and not too quickly change in time. So there you go, Religion Explained by Pascal, a must read for any culture designer who wants to work with belief systems, the spread of ideas, or religion in general. Enjoy.